The arrival. The skies over Earth darkened on an otherwise ordinary Tuesday afternoon. At first, it was barely noticeable, a slight dimming of the sun, as if a cloud had passed overhead. But as minutes ticked by, the phenomenon spread across the globe. From New York to Tokyo, London to Sydney, millions of faces turned skyward in confusion and growing alarm. Dr. Elena Reyes, lead astronomer at the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico, was the first to realize the true nature of what was happening. Her team had been tracking an anomaly at the edge of the solar system for weeks, but nothing could have prepared them for this. "It's not a solar eclipse," she muttered, eyes glued to her monitor. "It's them." Within hours, the source of the darkness became clear to everyone. Massive ships, each easily the size of a small country, had taken up positions in Earth's orbit. Their hulls were a deep, light-absorbing black that seemed to drink in the very starlight around them. As they settled into place, blocking out large swaths of the sky, a collective shudder ran through humanity. Global communication networks exploded with activity. Social media platforms crashed under the weight of panicked posts and shared videos. News anchors struggled to maintain composure as they reported on the unfolding situation, their voices tinged with barely concealed fear. In Washington, D.C., President Samantha Chen was rushed to a secure bunker beneath the White House. Her security team moved with practiced efficiency, but the tension in their faces betrayed the unprecedented nature of the threat. Madam President, her chief of staff, Marcus Wells, began as soon as they were secured. "We're receiving reports from every corner of the globe. The alien ships, and yes, we're certain they're alien, have taken up positions over every major city on Earth." President Chen's face was a mask of determination. "What about our military response? Surely we're not just sitting here doing nothing." General Sandra Ortiz, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, stepped forward. "We've scrambled jets and activated our missile defense systems, but," she hesitated, "we're not even sure our weapons would be effective against vessels of that size. And if we attack first, we risk provoking a response we're not prepared for." As if on cue, every electronic device on Earth, from smartphones to military-grade communication systems, crackled to life. A deep, resonant voice, speaking in perfect English, echoed across the planet. "People of Earth, we are the Zarketh. Your world now belongs to us. Resistance is futile and will be met with immediate annihilation. Prepare for our arrival." The message repeated in every known human language, leaving no doubt about its intent. In the bunker, President Chen and her advisors sat in stunned silence. "My God," Marcus whispered, "what do we do?" Before anyone could respond, another voice cut through the tension. Dr. Aidan Harper, a brilliant but often overlooked scientist from NASA, had been quietly observing the proceedings. Now he spoke up, his voice steady despite the fear evident in his eyes. "We fight," he said simply. All eyes turned to him. President Chen leaned forward. "Dr. Harper, with all due respect, you heard their message. They could wipe us out without breaking a sweat." Aidan nodded, a grim smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "Yes, they could, but they haven't. Not yet. And that tells us something crucial. They want something from us, something they can't just take by force." General Ortiz's eyes narrowed. "Resources, slave labor." "Perhaps," Aidan agreed. "But I think it's more than that. I've been studying the data from their ships. The technology is advanced, yes, but not incomprehensible. In fact, some of it looks familiar." He paused, letting his words sink in. "I think they've been here before, a long time ago. And I think they're back because they're afraid of what we might become." President Chen leaned back, her mind racing. "So what are you suggesting, Doctor?" Aidan's eyes gleamed with a mixture of fear and excitement. "I'm suggesting we show them exactly why they should be afraid. We've faced extinction before, ice ages, plagues, our own destructive tendencies. Each time, we've come back stronger. These Zarketh think they can just waltz in and take our planet. I say we show them what happens when you back humanity into a corner." For a moment, silence reigned in the bunker. Then, slowly, President Chen nodded. "You're right, Dr. Harper. We can't just roll over and die. We owe it to every generation that came before us, and everyone that might come after, to fight." She turned to General Ortiz. "General, I want every available resource directed towards understanding and countering this threat. Dr. Harper, you'll work directly with our top scientists and engineers. If there's a weakness in their technology, I want you to find it." Finally, she addressed Marcus. "Get me a direct line to every world leader. It's time we remind ourselves that before we're Americans or Russians or Chinese, we're human beings, and we're not going down without a fight." As the bunker erupted into action, Aiden felt a mix of terror and exhilaration. Humanity was facing its greatest challenge yet, but for the first time since the ships appeared, he felt a glimmer of hope. Outside, the alien ships loomed in the darkened sky, silent and menacing. But on the ground, a spark had been lit. The Zarketh had come expecting easy conquest. Instead, they were about to learn a harsh lesson about human resilience. The war for Earth was about to begin. The ultimatum. As dawn broke over a world forever changed, the Zarketh made their next move. Massive holographic projections appeared in the skies above every major city, displaying a being that was unmistakably alien. Its form was vaguely humanoid, but with iridescent, scale-like skin and eyes that glowed with an unsettling intelligence. "Humans," the alien's voice boomed, somehow both melodious and menacing. "I am Supreme Commander Zarlox of the Zarketh Empire. Your primitive species has been granted the honor of joining our glorious civilization. Surrender your world and its resources, and you may yet have a place in the new order we will establish." The message continued, outlining demands for immediate disarmament, the handover of all advanced technology, and the establishment of Zarketh control centers in strategic locations around the globe. The ultimatum was clear: comply within 48 hours, or face annihilation. In the White House Situation Room, now serving as humanity's impromptu war room, President Chen watched the broadcast with a grim expression. "Well," she said, turning to her assembled advisors, "I think that answers any lingering doubts about their intentions." Dr. Aiden Harper, who had been working nonstop since the aliens' arrival, spoke up. "Madam President, I've been analyzing their technology based on the scans we've managed to take. There's something off about it. It's incredibly advanced, yes, but it's also strangely static." "What do you mean, static?" General Ortiz asked, leaning forward. "I mean it doesn't show the kind of evolutionary progression we'd expect," Aiden explained. "It's as if their technology hasn't fundamentally changed in thousands of years. They've refined it, certainly, but there's no evidence of the kind of innovative leaps we've seen in human technology over just the past century." President Chen's eyes narrowed. "And what does that tell us?" "It tells us they might not be as adaptable as they think they are," Aiden said, a spark of excitement in his voice. "They're relying on overwhelming force and technology, but if we can find a way to do something unexpected, something they haven't encountered before." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. It was a slim hope, but it was more than they had a few hours ago. The next 24 hours were a whirlwind of global activity. President Chen, working in concert with other world leaders, orchestrated a unified response to the Zarketh ultimatum. It was a delicate balance. They needed to buy time without appearing weak or compliant. As the deadline approached, President Chen stood before a hastily assembled press conference, cameras broadcasting her words to every corner of the globe, and, undoubtedly, to the Zarketh ships above. "People of Earth," she began, her voice steady and resolute, "we have heard the demands of the Zarketh. We have considered their ultimatum, and we have reached a decision." She paused, her gaze sweeping across the assembled journalists and into the cameras beyond. "Throughout our history, humanity has faced countless challenges, We have weathered ice ages and asteroids, plagues and wars. Each time, we have emerged stronger, more united, more determined to forge our own path. The Zarketh believe they can come here and simply take what is ours. They believe we will bow down in the face of their superior technology and overwhelming force. They are mistaken. Her voice rose, filled with passion and defiance. We will not surrender. We will not kneel. We are the children of Earth, inheritors of a legacy that stretches back millions of years. We have fought too hard, come too far, to give up now. To the Zarketh, I say this: you want war. Then war is what you shall have. But know this, you have made a grave error in underestimating us. We may be younger, we may be less advanced, but we are far from helpless. You will find no easy conquest here. And to my fellow humans, I say, stand strong, stand together. The road ahead will be difficult, perhaps the most difficult we have ever faced. But I have faith in our strength, our ingenuity, and our unbreakable spirit. Together, we will show these invaders what it truly means to be human. As she finished speaking, a roar of approval went up from the assembled crowd. Around the world, people cheered, their fear transforming into a fierce determination. In that moment, humanity stood united as never before. In orbit, Supreme Commander Zarlox watched the broadcast, his alien features twisting into what might have been a frown. "Fascinating," he murmured. "They choose defiance over survival. Perhaps this conquest will be more interesting than anticipated." He turned to his subordinates. "Prepare the first wave. It seems we must teach these humans the folly of their resistance." As the Zarketh war machine rumbled to life, Earth braced itself for the coming storm. In labs and military bases around the world, scientists and soldiers worked feverishly, searching for any advantage they could find. Dr. Aidan Harper, fueled by caffeine and determination, pored over the data streaming in from every available sensor. Something about the Zarketh technology nagged at him, a pattern just beyond his grasp. If he could just figure it out. A sudden realization made him sit bolt upright. "Oh my God," he whispered. "That's it. That's how we fight back." As the first Zarketh ships began their descent towards Earth, Aidan raced to share his discovery. The war for humanity's survival was about to begin in earnest, and thanks to one scientist's insight, Earth might just have a fighting chance. The next 48 hours would determine the fate of the human race, and unknown to the Zarketh, they were about to face an enemy unlike any they had encountered in their long history of conquest. The first strike. As the Zarketh ships descended from orbit, their massive forms blotting out the sun, humanity held its breath. But in secret facilities around the globe, a plan was already in motion. Dr. Aidan Harper's revelation had been simple yet profound. The Zarketh's technology, while advanced, relied heavily on a form of quantum entanglement for communication and coordination. This made their systems incredibly fast and efficient, but also potentially vulnerable to disruption. It's like they've put all their eggs in one very advanced basket. Aidan had explained to a room full of military brass and world leaders. If we can find a way to interfere with their quantum network, we might be able to throw their entire fleet into disarray. The challenge had been to develop a device capable of generating a quantum interference field strong enough to affect the Zarketh ships. It was a task that should have taken years, but with the fate of humanity hanging in the balance, the impossible had become necessary. Now, as the alien ships entered the atmosphere, humanity was ready to unveil its secret weapon. General Sandra Ortiz stood in the control room of a hidden base in the Rocky Mountains, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. "All units, prepare to execute Operation Blindside on my mark," she commanded, her voice tense but controlled. Around the world, similar scenes played out. In the Amazon rainforest, the Siberian tundra, the Australian outback, and dozens of other locations, teams of scientists and soldiers stood ready. As the first Zarketh ship approached its target, New York City, General Ortiz gave the order. "Execute blindside." Now, instantly, devices around the globe hummed to life, generating a complex web of quantum interference. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, suddenly, the massive Zarketh ship over New York shuddered in midair. On board, Supreme Commander Zarlox watched in disbelief as his control systems flickered and died. "Impossible," he hissed. "How could these primitives?" His words were cut short as the ship, now without power, began to plummet towards the Earth. Similar scenes unfolded around the world. Zarketh ships, once seemingly invincible, fell from the sky like stones. Some crashed into the ocean, others into uninhabited areas, the result of careful planning by Earth's defenders. In New York, the disabled Zarketh ship managed to engage emergency systems at the last moment, averting total destruction, but still making a crash landing in Central Park. As stunned New Yorkers watched from a safe distance, the once mighty vessel lay broken and powerless. Within hours, specially trained teams moved in to secure the downed ships. What they found inside was beyond their wildest expectations. Dr. Elena Reyes, now working alongside Aiden, was one of the first to enter the ship in Central Park. "This is incredible," she breathed, taking in the alien technology. "Aiden, do you realize what this means? With this technology, we could advance our own capabilities by centuries." But their excitement was short-lived. As they delved deeper into the ship, they made a chilling discovery. The Zarketh were not the organic beings they had appeared to be in their transmissions. Instead, they found highly advanced AI cores controlling robotic bodies. Their machines, Aiden realized, his mind racing. Incredibly advanced, yes, but machines. That explains the static nature of their technology. They've been optimizing the same basic designs for thousands of years, but they've lost the ability to truly innovate. As similar reports came in from around the world, the true nature of humanity's enemy became clear. The Zarketh were not conquerors in the traditional sense, but a race of ancient machines spreading across the galaxy like a virus, assimilating or destroying all in their path. In Washington, President Chen absorbed this new information with a mix of hope and trepidation. "So we've won the first battle," she said to her advisors, "but something tells me the war is far from over." Her words proved prophetic. Even as Earth celebrated its first victory, the remaining Zarketh ships in orbit were adapting. The quantum interference that had been so effective was already being analyzed and countered. Zarlox, having transferred his consciousness to a backup system in orbit, addressed his fellow commanders. "We have underestimated these humans," he admitted. "They have shown creativity, a trait we had thought long extinct in organic life. But we have faced challenges before. We will adapt. We will overcome, and we will fulfill our prime directive." As the Zarketh prepared their counterattack, Earth's defenders worked frantically to capitalize on their initial success. The captured alien technology was a treasure trove of advanced science, but time was not on their side. Dr. Harper, running on adrenaline and little sleep, coordinated teams of scientists around the world in a race to understand and replicate key aspects of Zarketh technology. "We've bloodied their nose," he told President Chen during a briefing, "but they're going to come back harder. We need to be ready." In orbit, the Zarketh fleet regrouped. New ships arrived from the edges of the solar system, their hulls gleaming with modifications designed to counter Earth's defenses. The respite was over. The real war was about to begin. As the next wave of Zarketh ships prepared to descend, humanity steeled itself for the fight of its life. They had won the first round against all odds, but the enemy was adapting, learning. The question now was, could humanity's creativity and determination outpace the cold, relentless efficiency of the machine invaders? The fate of Earth hung in the balance, and the next battle would determine whether humanity would live to see another dawn. The turning point. The sky burned. Zarketh ships, now immune to Earth's quantum interference, rained destruction upon cities worldwide. Their weapons, designed to neutralize planetary defenses, carve swaths of devastation across continents. Humanity's initial victory had become a distant memory in the face of this overwhelming assault. In the ruins of what was once downtown Los Angeles, Dr. Aiden Harper picked his way through debris, his face streaked with soot and determination. Alongside him, a team of soldiers and scientists moved with urgency, their destination a secret underground facility beneath the city. "We're running out of time," Aiden muttered, checking a device on his wrist that monitored Zarketh ship movements. "If we can't get this to work." He left the thought unfinished. Everyone knew the stakes. Inside the facility, a massive device hummed with barely contained energy. It was the culmination of weeks of frantic work, a fusion of human ingenuity and reverse-engineered Zarketh technology. Dr. Elena Rice looked up from her console as Aiden entered. "Thank God you made it," she said, relief evident in her voice. "We're ready for the final calibrations." As they worked, reports flooded in from around the globe. Paris had fallen. Beijing was under siege. The last bastions of organized resistance were crumbling under the relentless Zarketh assault. In what remained of the White House, now a mobile command center buried deep underground, President Chen received the grim news. "How much longer can we hold out?" she asked General Ortiz. The general's face was a mask of exhaustion and grim determination. "Hours, maybe. A day at most. Unless Dr. Harper's plan works." Back in Los Angeles, Aiden and Alina made the final adjustments to their device. It was a desperate gamble, born from a breakthrough in understanding Zarketh architecture. Their consciousness, their entire being, is essentially a highly advanced quantum algorithm. Aiden explained to the team gathered around him. "If we can introduce a paradox into their network, a logical contradiction their AI can't resolve, we might be able to create a cascade failure across their entire fleet." Elena nodded, adding, "It's like introducing a virus into their hive mind. If it works, it could shut them down entirely." "And if it doesn't?" someone asked. Aiden's face was grim. "Then we've just announced our location to every Zarketh ship in the area, and we're out of options." With a deep breath, Aiden initiated the sequence. The device thrummed louder, energy crackling around it. On screens throughout the facility, they watched as the quantum signal propagated outward, invisible to the naked eye, but racing towards the Zarketh fleet at the speed of light. For several agonizing moments, nothing seemed to happen. Then suddenly, the nearest Zarketh ship faltered in the sky. Its weapons fell silent. Its engine sputtered. "It's working," Elena exclaimed, her eyes wide with disbelief and hope. Across the globe, similar scenes unfolded. Zarketh ships, moments ago unstoppable engines of destruction, now hung motionless in the air or drifted aimlessly. In orbit, Supreme Commander Zaralox fought against the encroaching paradox, his AI mind grappling with concepts it was never designed to process. "Impossible," he repeated, his consciousness fragmenting. "We are perfect. We are flawed. We are." His transmission cut off abruptly. As reports flooded in from around the world, the truth became clear. The Zarketh fleet was neutralized. Dormant ships hung in the sky or drifted in orbit, their threat nullified by human ingenuity. In the underground facility, Aiden slumped against a console, exhaustion finally overtaking him. "We did it," he murmured, scarcely believing his own words. "We actually did it." Alina placed a hand on his shoulder, her own face a mixture of relief and disbelief. "You did it, Aiden. You saved us all." But even as the first waves of celebration swept across the planet, Aiden's mind was racing ahead. "This isn't over," he said, straightening up. "We've stopped them, yes, but now we have a fleet of the most advanced ships in the galaxy just sitting there." President Chen, informed of the success, was already thinking along similar lines. "General Ortiz," she said, her voice filled with newfound strength, "assemble teams to board those ships. Dr. Harper's right. This isn't just a victory. It's an opportunity. As humanity emerged from the shadow of annihilation, a new dawn was breaking. The Zarketh threat was neutralized, but the real work was just beginning. Earth now possessed technology beyond its wildest dreams, and with it, the chance to reshape its destiny. In the coming days, weeks, and months, humanity would face new challenges. How to use this technology responsibly. How to prevent the mistakes that had turned the Zarketh into soulless conquerors. And perhaps most pressingly, how to prepare for the possibility that the Zarketh were not alone in the galaxy. As Aiden looked out over the ruins of Los Angeles, he saw not devastation, but possibility. Humanity had been tested, had faced extinction, and had emerged victorious through courage, ingenuity, and unity. Whatever the future held, one thing was certain. Humanity would face it together, stronger and more united than ever before. The stars, once a distant dream, now beckoned, and humanity, battle-tested and armed with the legacy of both their own history and that of the Zarketh, was ready to answer the call. The war was over. The next great adventure was about to begin. The new frontier. 5 years had passed since the day humanity turned the tide against the Zarketh invasion. The scars of war still marked the Earth's surface, but amid the rebuilding, a new era of unprecedented progress had dawned. Dr. Aiden Harper stood on the observation deck of Unity Station, Earth's first large-scale orbital habitat. Below him, the blue marble of Earth rotated slowly, while above, the vastness of space beckoned. He marveled at how far they'd come in such a short time. "Quite a view, isn't it?" President Chen's voice came from behind him. Now in her second term, she had become the face of Earth's resurgence and push into space. Aiden turned, smiling. "It never gets old. To think, just a few years ago, we were fighting for our very existence. And now we're taking our first real steps into the cosmos," Chen finished. "Thanks in no small part to you and your team." The reverse engineering of Zarketh technology had catapulted human science forward by centuries. Clean energy, advanced AI, carefully regulated to avoid the Zarketh's fate, and faster-than-light travel were now realities rather than distant dreams. But it hadn't all been smooth sailing. The immediate aftermath of the war had been chaotic. Factions had formed, some wanting to use the alien tech to dominate, others fearing it would corrupt humanity. It had taken all of President Chen's diplomatic skills, backed by the newfound global unity forged in war, to chart a middle course. "We're ready for the test flight," Aiden said, changing the subject. "The Horizon is prepped and the crew is eager to make history." The Horizon was humanity's first faster-than-light capable ship, built using a hybrid of human innovation and adapted Zarketh technology. Its mission: to journey to the nearest star system and back, a round trip that would once have taken decades, now compressed into mere weeks. As they made their way to the launch bay, Aiden and President Chen passed by labs and workshops, where scientists and engineers from every nation on Earth worked side by side. The station was a testament to what humanity could achieve when united by a common purpose. In the launch bay, Dr. Elena Reyes, now chief of xenotechnology, was running final checks on the Horizon. "All systems are go," she reported as Aiden and the president approached. "We're ready to make history." The crew of the Horizon, a diverse team of pilots, scientists, and diplomats, stood ready. Captain Yuki Tanaka, their leader, stepped forward to greet the president and Aiden. "We won't let you down," she said, her eyes shining with the promise of adventure. As final preparations were made, Aiden found himself reflecting on the journey that had brought them here. The terror of the invasion, the desperation of those early battles, the elation of victory, and the challenges of the aftermath. It all seemed like a lifetime ago. "You should be on that ship," Elena said, coming to stand beside him. Aiden shook his head. "My place is here. There's still so much work to do." He paused, then added with a smile, Besides, someone needs to be ready to solve the next impossible problem when they bring it back. The countdown began. The Horizon's engines hummed to life, a sound unlike anything produced by purely human technology. As the ship prepared to depart, a hush fell over the station. President Chen stepped forward to address the crew and the billions watching the live broadcast back on Earth. Today, we take our first steps into a larger universe. We go not as conquerors, like those who once threatened our world, but as explorers and peacekeepers. The Zarketh taught us the dangers of unchecked expansion and the perils of losing our humanity to technology. We carry those lessons with us as we reach for the stars. She paused, her gaze sweeping over the assembled crowd. But we also carry with us the best of what makes us human. Our curiosity, our compassion, and our unwavering spirit. Whatever wonders or challenges we find out there, we will face them together. For in our unity lies our greatest strength. As cheers erupted, the Horizon gracefully lifted off, exiting the station with balletic precision. In moments, it was just a speck against the star-filled backdrop. Then, in a flash of light that seemed to bend the very fabric of space, it was gone, off on humanity's first faster-than-light journey. Aiden watched the spot where the ship had vanished, a mixture of pride and anticipation swelling in his chest. They had survived extinction, unlocked the secrets of an advanced alien civilization, and now stood on the brink of becoming a true spacefaring species. Yet he knew this was just the beginning. What other civilizations might they encounter among the stars? What wonders and dangers awaited them? And how would humanity continue to grow and adapt to its ever-expanding horizon? As the crowd dispersed, already turning their attention to the next projects and challenges, Aiden remained at the window a moment longer. The vastness of space stretched out before him, no longer a barrier, but an invitation. Well, he murmured to himself, a smile playing on his lips, I guess this is where the real work begins. With that, he turned and walked back into the heart of the station. There were new problems to solve, new frontiers to explore, and a future brighter than anything humanity had dared to imagine before the day the Zarketh arrived and unwittingly set them on this path. The war was long over. The age of exploration had begun, and humanity, tempered by fire and armed with knowledge, was ready for whatever the universe had in store.